Hello viewers. Well, recently I attended the finals of McLaren's World's Fastest Gamer. We've been covering the competition throughout the year, and it was interesting seeing all the different competitors eventually whittled down. Of course, we started with 12 at the beginning of the week and ended up there could be only one winner, and that winner was Rudy Van Buren. I caught up with him to find out his feelings on winning competition, besides what was involved essentially in that final week of testing the competitors and perhaps giving a bit of advice for those who'd like to compete in the future, besides his thoughts on the role. Hello viewers, so now I'm joined by Rudy Van Buren, the winner of McLaren's Fastest Gamer, best job in esports. Rudy, I mean, incredible opportunity. Tell me your first thoughts on winning the competition.
The first thought was a big relief yesterday.
Yeah.
You obviously had 13 long days here, filled with a lot of things, and yesterday was just a bit of filming to do and waiting basically, but very relieved when the final work was out and very happy with the chance.
Now, we've seen a bit of your background. I mean, you started off karting. Did you play many games as well, karting, years ago? Have you always been a gamer?
No, in those days, well, I had a PlayStation with some Formula 1 game on it, but nothing major. My gaming started when the go-karting stopped, purely as a replacement for the racing when you're looking for something where you can express yourself in. And I found that in sim racing, and now 9 years later, sim racing brought me back into the real motorsport. Amazing, really, because it still uses some of those sort of, I guess, a competitive instinct that you have for both as well, you know, in terms of, you know, that racing feel and vibe. Tell me about how you sort of got yourself together in terms of your training and preparing for McLaren's Fastest Gamer. When did you hear about it? How did you get involved? I think it was around the beginning of August that we found out of this competition. Well, first big hurdle was the qualifying. I only play R-Factor 2 mainly, so I went through that route. When that was done, it was the next step, and McLaren started to point out more and more things that was expected from us here. And I just upped the training schedule a bit. Basically, I already work out quite a lot during the week, so I focused a bit more on cardio, drove a bit on different platforms because we could expect different ones here. And apart from that, might sound stupid, but don't prepare too much because we have no idea how the pedals were going to be here, how the steering wheel was going to be, how the seat was going to be. So it was know how the game works and then just adapt when you're here. That was all what they want to see. I
mean, you've got some real karting experience, so in terms of braking, you have a feel of brake pressure. In terms of accelerating through the corner, that gives you a good idea on how to drive the cars. You know, would you say that your real karting experience made you a better sim racer, and that the combination of the two, in terms of that real experience, understanding tyre temperatures, helped you here in this competition?
Well, I think it helps both, but I've said many times in interviews already, I wished in the karting days I had the knowledge about tyres and all those kind of things that I learned from sim racing. Because in karting I used to do, it was mainly the sprint races, and it's just one big run all the way to the finish. And in sim racing, in a little bit longer races, you learn how to deal with stuff, put your different mindset in it, manage the tyres, think about different things, and just hot lapping basically. So it's a combination of both. Racecraft is something the earlier you learn it, the better. So I started go-karting at 8, so the first bits are always the most important ones.
I suppose what I'm thinking also is that you had a feel for driving as well. I mean, it's important to get that feel, because a lot of guys at home now, they're going to be playing R-Factor or iRacing or whatever type of racing. They're going to be saying, wow, what an amazing opportunity. What can I do to better myself? Can karting help me? Can physical training? Or is it just a combination of all of these elements?
Definitely a combination of all of them, but people should definitely not forget the physical part of it, because a healthy body is a healthy mind, and a healthy mind is quick lap times. And it might sound a bit odd if you're just sitting at home at your PC, but when chances like this occur and you come here at McLaren, you get tested at everything, so you've got to be ready for everything as well.
Let's talk about those tests then. What were the tests that stood out to you as the most surprising over the past week?
The cognitive ones. To get some kind of picture, you're sitting in front of a laptop and you're doing all kinds of things, just moving the mouse in a certain direction, reacting to beeps, reacting to different sound patterns and all those kind of things. And during that period they give you like a mirror in front of yourself. You just learn more about yourself and how you can improve in certain areas. And actually during this week we already found out that some of that stuff really helps already in the racing, just keeping your mind focused.
So I guess it's two-part then. We've got the racing and the racing skill and the feel, but then we've got the cognitive, but also the aspect where you're having to explain the details in some depth. I mean, 50% of this is going to be writing probably big reports on what you felt and working with the team to develop those parts.
Yeah, at least half of it will be like that. They expect so much more from you than just do a quick lap time. That's with all the other tests. We've been testing in so many different areas. They were looking for the complete picture, not just the guy who can run the quickest lap and not the guy who was the fittest. It was the combination of both, and that gives a person that normal-wise could help McLaren a little bit forward next year.
Well, I know a lot of viewers are going to be wondering, what's it like in the official McLaren simulator? There's only so much you can say about it, but what can you say to the viewers about that?
Just think about the simulator. That's the most amazing possible in all sense of feel, speed, sensation, even physical. It's quite physical to drive. Graphic-wise, it's right up there. It's just every little bit that they can do on it, it's done here. I can't say much more about it.
No, you can't say much
imagine
more.
it being the most amazing thing you've ever seen and driven, and then go at times 10.
Well, I've had a little look at it as well, and what I can say actually is that I think for players at home, I think braking pressures are quite important. You're pushing your back into the seat. I think in terms of the steering wheel, it's quite physical to turn the wheel, so there's a lot of that sort of physicality. You will break your hands on it if you don't take your hands off the wheel as well. It's important to note actually, just a little detail. I have been on one of these simulators, and the man said to me, you'll break your wrists if you don't let go if you crash. And it sort of built a tension inside me that I had to sort of let go of after a few laps and build up speed. But no, Rudy, listen, thanks for your time today. I guess really, what's the thing you're most looking forward to now in this role, getting stuck into?
Getting back in the simulator. That was the biggest high of the whole week, just the 70 odd laps I did in it. And now I can't wait to get back in it and show what I can do.
And I've got to say, the moment that you test something and it actually appears on the real car, I think it's going to be very exciting in the 2018 season.
Yeah, that's one of the most cool parts that are going to be possible here. That I've got like this very, very little bit of input in maybe what next year's car will be.
Excellent. Well, Rudy, listen, thanks for your time and congratulations on an amazing job at the World's Fastest Gamer. Thank you. Brilliant. Well, big thanks to Rudy for his time. Certainly an amazing role in terms of what he's going to be doing at McLaren and eventually refining the parts and seeing those appear on the cars and seeing how he develops as well himself as a simulator driver in the next year. It'd be really interesting to see what he learns over the course of the next year. Next year should be an interesting year for McLaren. New engine. You know, they've clearly got a good chassis to build upon, and with the great Fernando Alonso driving for them, anything can happen in Formula 1 2018. I really look forward to Renault closing that gap and seeing McLaren back there up on the podium and fighting for wins as well. Very exciting time for the team, an exciting time for Rudy, and well done to him as well. And we look forward to more McLaren's World's Fastest Gamer in 2018. We've also got an interview coming up with McLaren's Director of Esports as well, looking to the future. But that's it from me for now. As ever, more soon.